Yeah. I'm not worried about old Bongo.
Bongo's cool. There's a cool dog that barks next door, and then there's some other dogs that bark.
Bongo will bark until you give him some attention.
Yeah.
But Gizmo.
No redeeming qualities. I don't know if Gizmo's gonna watch this or not. If you're watching Gizmo, we fucking hate you.
I don't hate him. But
I don't really. I do hate him, but
he's terrified me more than once.
I don't know how I feel on hate. I could go either way. I'm just trying not to be a hateful person, so I don't hate Gizmo. I'm really trying not to have any hate in my heart. Trying to talk less shit, you know?
Yeah.
Talk less shit about dogs, people.
I feel like Gizmo just has a serious mental illness, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Special needs dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks he wants to eat you. Would he? Would he eat you if he had the chance? I don't know. It kind of seems like he would.
Yeah. I think he would. Like if there was just somebody threw a body in the yard, Bongo wouldn't eat it.
Bongo would be like, "Will you pet me?" And no.
Gizmo he's going straight for the face immediately.
Before I knew there was an electric fence, Gizmo really got me good.
Tell our listeners this story.
Well, before we built the house, I came over to mow the lawn. And I was just mowing the lawn, and the fence had been like pushed down, so it was, easily a dog could jump over it. And that dog came at me, snarling, barking.
Out of nowhere, right?
Out of nowhere.
Like just not in the frame of your...
And it's running straight toward that part, and it's running straight toward me, and that part it could jump over. And I was like, am I going to have to mow this dog with my lawnmower? That
was your chance. You blew it. You should have mowed Gizmo. Oh. He's got Mo in his name. I mean, if that doesn't rationalize it, I don't know what does. I like how you just skipped over the part where the fence was just bent down.
I did say that.
Yeah, no, you said it, but then I'm like, there's also a kind of a story there too.
Oh,
like you just casually said, the fence was bent down by a bear.
Yeah. The bears will just come back. We'll be like, let's fix it. And then the bears will just be like, brrr, with like one pinky. They're like, brrr.
It is like with one pinky. You think they look so cute and cuddly, and then you see them do like a one pinky thing, and you're like, oh shit, this is like young Mike Tyson.
Like, why do we fix this? I don't think it's going to work.
Well, it sure is quiet out there now.
It is.
What do you think about the, I think I like the shed the most of any podcast location, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe there's I'm starting to get to the point in life where I believe things like the vibrations from the sound and the jams get in the walls and they create a vibe.
Yeah.
I'm getting into that phase of my life.
I don't think that's new, honey.
When you met me, like when we started dating 15 years ago, I was like a crazy hippie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking about one of our first dates where you had like the giant, like you had sunglasses like this big on. And you had like fingerless gloves like up to here that were red.
Yeah.
And you sort of walked around like Andy Warhol at that time. You were kind of like,
Andy. Yeah, I guess I kind of embraced more androgyny. Maybe that it was that being that age and also having that much hair, you feel like you just can might as well put on some lipstick, Now I'm like, I don't know.
I think you're like floating in space more. And then like having kids, you just have to come down.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but it will help. I did the one with James in here, and the clouds came over like that. It was like you cut a reel and it's all grainy.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were we? Hippies.
Your Andy Warhol period.
Yeah, I guess that was also the period where I would get up on stage and I'd be like yelling about, I'd be like drink a bunch of alcohol and be like yelling about my relationship pain or whatever. So there was a whole version that I don't think I like. I don't do that character of Ryan anymore quite like that.
Yeah.
You feel like you've changed in that way? From your 20s to your 40s?
I think I've gotten like less selfish and less anxious in a way. I used to be sort of like anxiously selfish or something.
Yeah, they're kind of interwoven, right? Because you're like, oh, it sure is like stressful trying to be cool or whatever
Yeah.
What was the other one again?
Anxiously stress, or what is it? Anxiously selfish.
Yeah, being selfish. Is stressful. You know, it's like making sure you always get the most. It's like exhausting. It's like, man, hey, I got fucked over again. Like just being that is like makes you anxious because you're making everyone else around you anxious. So you're just
well, maybe self-centered is a better term.
Yeah.
For what I was just like caught up in what I could do and, you know, like trying to whatever.
What were you trying to do at that time? Did you have goals or were you just kind of floating around in your 20s, just crashing into situations?
There's some of that, but I was already like in my career and stuff. I was already a music therapist at hospice.
That's true.
But I was trying to like be crazy on the side and do my, do my band and all that.
A therapist by day and your side hustle is being an insane person. Gets up in the room like, I got some shit to say.
The worlds would kind of collide sometimes. I'm like, I gotta embrace my like crazy. Then I go to work and be like, no, I'm totally like, I'm 100% reliable. And
they were like, what about those tights you're wearing?
Oh, yeah.
Those don't seem so reliable.
Yeah, they told me not to wear a certain pair of tights one time.
You were very avant-garde with the leg wear. You were like found where like we've never had to tell anybody this before, but those tights.
It was just colorful tights. Like it was weird.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the one I'm gonna get talked to about. I think it's the only thing I've ever been talked to about.
Was it like Wizard of Oz? Like a house was gonna fall on you tights? What kind of?
Well,
candy cane.
I think
Harley Quinn.
I think like this nursing head at the time said that it looked like tattoos on my legs. Although it wasn't like, I mean, it just had, I don't know, maybe it was just some swirly, crazy stuff. They were cool tights.
Yeah.
But they didn't have like any, I don't think they had any specific pictures or anything on them, but they did sort of look like tattoos. It had that sort of like faded color to them. They were cool. They were sort of distracting. When you walk in, I mean, people would be like, oh, tights. You know, it's like...
colorful tattoos.
Yeah.
Look at the tattoos that have color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like kind of like faded.
Because most tattoos don't have color, right? But is that like a new thing? Like I know like our friends Jason and Ian, they have color. Like I feel like occasionally I'm like, oh yeah, tattoos can have color. But...
they usually have color.
Do they?
I mean, there's...
besides blue and black? Is everybody listening going like, this fucking guy's never even seen tattoos?
This is so you with your visual, like, processing or whatever.
If I'm in here alone, I just go right past it. I'm like, and as we all know, 99% of tattoos are black. Then there's somebody else to be like, what are you talking about? Tattoos are like people. They come in so many different shades. The fact that you'd even think it was one color.
I don't know.
I think Hitler was trying to get all tattoos to be one color.
Oh
no. Uh-oh.
Maybe you're just like stuck in the 90s where they were doing those like tribal armbands and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're like, if I got like a Celtic one, maybe I could get, it would be not too. But if you get one from some whole other place, like if you're this white and you get one from a place where nobody's white.
Yeah.
And then the times change and you still have it. You're like, yeah, I used to be racist, but we didn't know it wasn't. They changed what racism was. I have lasers are expensive.
It like says some random word in like Chinese or something.
Yeah.
It says like, I don't know. What does it say?
I mean, hopefully it's not like the slur for white person. Maybe that's actually is the best thing it could say. It's like, no, I'm shitting on myself here.
What if you got like a random word in Chinese and then somebody, like you did it on purpose, and then someone who could read that was like, aha, you got like, dehumidifier on your arm, and you were like, yeah, that's what I meant to get.
And they're like, no, you didn't. Nobody means to get dehumidified. No, I did. No, yes, I did. You're just mad at Asians, like it just ruins your. Just getting taunted. Yeah, dehumidifier. It's like, I don't know, man. Just keep it dry. Try to get all moldy and shit.
Well, maybe it has. Maybe I subconsciously said that because of the flood.
Because you hate water.
I do.
I was just gonna go on the record and say Emily Keebler's nemesis.
It's always been water. It's been water for a while.
My wife is trying to take on water. This is what I deal with. Fuck water, first of all. I mean, right after the hurricane, this is the time for you to really get a following and be like, come out and be like, I always knew we couldn't trust water.
I've been preaching this since 2014.
You really have. You really have. Like, it's always seemed crazy, but you're like, water's going to get us.
It always does. I mean, it's the only thing that, I don't know. It gets me. I think here, it's very common.
You thought it was going to be heart disease, but no. Water. You're probably going to drown.
Yeah, I have nightmares about water. I have nightmares about sea creatures and stuff. Like,
but you also love, like, isn't the whale your power animal?
Yeah.
Because it does manage to, maybe if you need to become the whale, or if you can resolve this conflict with water, you can be the big, powerful, gentle, submerged in water creature.
I don't submerge easily. I kind of.
We go to the pool all summer. There's like one time you get in. You get in twice, and the one time you get your hair wet every year.
Yeah, I get in more than twice, but I only wet my hair once per year.
No, it's
But I actually have a great difficulty going underwater. My body just doesn't float.
Water doesn't like you either. Yeah. It's like, get the fuck out.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to dive down into it. And it's like, nope.
But I mean, whales it's kind of weird that they don't float up. They look like they would, How are they? I guess they're just, there's something dense. They have really heavy skeletons or something, because it seems like they, this is going to have to be edited out. Start body shaming whales. I did cut that. Go ahead.
I wonder if whale blubber is like
the word
denser than human blubber.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess on humans you call it what, fat, and then on it's blubber. Like, is it only called blubber? Like,
I think it's only called blubber for whales.
Wasn't Robert Williams in a movie called like Blubber or Flubber or something?
Oh yeah,
that's different. Sorry,
that was different.
We have been talking about Robin for a little bit, but yeah, maybe the blubber is it's like instead of being like a duck, it's heavy, like denser, heavier.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of fun not to know, That's what I like about I might look it up later, but I kind of like being in this, like, maybe the skeletons are there whale skeletons? They have skeletons, right?
Yeah.
They have like giant bones.
Yeah.
Maybe those things just weigh a ton. And it's just like, but you don't want it to be so heavy. Like when a whale dies, does it sink to the bottom?
I know it eventually sinks to the bottom because it's like one of the things that deep sea creatures feed on. It's one of the only things, it's like their like meal is when a whale finally like falls down and it becomes this crazy feeding frenzy.
Really?
Yeah.
There's rats that live like on the bottom of the ocean and they're just like they can't kill their own shit. And then every once in a while they're like, oh shit. They just see the dead whale coming down and they get out there like bibs.
Yeah, I know it's like crabs and stuff. I can't remember. I think I've seen where they put a camera on like a whale carcass. And then you just see all the so many different creatures. Yeah, that's interesting because it reminds me of like that book called The Overstory that I read. Remember that? It's like
the
about
tree
trees
one?
Yeah. And I've been thinking about that a lot because it says in it that, you could say that a fallen tree is more alive than a living tree because of all the things that come from that fallen tree.
It's more living with the larger organism of Earth instead of on its own singular treeness.
So many different, I don't know, plants and fungi.
That's why
spring from it.
They're like being thrown in some box and embalmed doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Because you're like, why would you withhold the opportunity for there to be more life in your body after you're gone?
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, water's going to get you in there. So just don't even think about that. It's ridiculous. But that's kind of what, a lot of people are
Water's going to crawl through the box.
Oh, yeah. Those vaults don't keep water out. Nothing can do that. But that's kind of like, a lot of people are real sad about trees falling, and that's kind of one thing that's helped me not to be so sad about how many trees we've lost.
Yeah.
Is to think about all the stuff that comes from those trees that are down.
Like this beautiful shed. You maybe meant like life.
Yeah.
But what is this podcast but life,
We didn't cut down any trees for the shed, well, except for the lumber for the shed, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It does stand where there used to be a nice tree.
Yeah.
That was real sad to lose. But
and sometimes when we have a really good jam in here, just to celebrate, I like to just cut down a random tree.
why would you sacrifice a tree?
Well, the people don't know that there's bamboo, like the bamboo is around the shed, and the bamboo is like I just felt it like knocking.
It's under there.
It's under there. It's like bamboo's kind of like water. It's like I got all day, motherfucker. Like I'm getting in there. All you have to do is stop killing me for just a minute. Yeah.
But it's kind of fun to kill bamboo when it comes up. It doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah. When it's weak, when it's still soft, and you can just be like, "Bah!"
Yeah.
You ain't shit yet, bamboo. Then you go to the beach for a week, and you come back, and you're like, "Fuck." Hey, fellas, sorry about the killing the babies.
Remember, somebody told us they moved houses because they were just terrified of their bamboo. They sold.
Oh, yeah.
That was what they claimed.
They were on our street.
They were
right?
on our street,
yeah.
and they claimed that's why they moved.
And first of all, rude. If you don't ever, when somebody moves into your old street that you used to live on, and the reason you moved is because of something that's on the street with the person, and they ask you, you don't tell them. Like,
I mean, bamboo's pretty, innocuous. Bamboo's kind of like.
There's no water.
I mean. No. I like bamboo. I was afraid of bamboo, but now I'm not afraid of bamboo.
I mean, bamboo is water. Bamboo is just water. Like, what's it called when the evil X-Man that changes into the blue lady? What's her power called?
I don't know this character.
Really? It's like a really hot blue lady that's one of the X-Men, and she
Does
can
she
look
have red hair?
Yeah, but she can look like anybody. Like, and there's a word for that. Changing your form, shapeshifting.
Oh,
Bamboo is just water shapeshifted into a new form.
well, isn't any plant?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what animals are too.
Yeah.
So you could still hate bamboo more than other plants. I mean, it's definitely an invasive species.
But you don't really have a problem with bamboo.
I don't. No, because I do feel I have some sense of control over bamboo.
Yeah.
And that's the crux of the issue. Water, I have no control over. Bamboo, I mow it, man. I just mow it like I was going to mow that dog, but I wouldn't have mowed the dog. But I did think of it.
It's a nice callback. Gizmo, you remember.
I mow over the bamboo and I'm like, this is what I would have done to Gizmo.
Yeah, that special needs dog.
No, that's so wrong.
He's got a group.
A lot of people really have a problem with Gizmo, but I don't. But I will defend myself from him because I do think he might really kill me.
I don't really have a problem with loud dogs. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I make so much noise in here.
Yeah.
And I'm in no position to complain about anyone's noise outside. I think we should all be allowed to make as much as we want.
Yeah.
Because if they come for someone.
Yeah. It will be you, for sure.
Yeah.
You're the loudest person on the street.
Yeah.
But we have cool neighbors.
We really do.
We have very cool neighbors.
Aside from Gizmo, they're all great.
Yeah.
All the humans are cool.
I'd much rather have a loud dog than a bad neighbor person.
Yeah, that's true. Unless it's like a pit bull that gets out on a regular.
Yeah. It's weird because I don't know. Gizmo, the other dogs have gotten out.
Yeah.
But Gizmo doesn't.
He's just kind of a shit talker, I think.
I think he is.
Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to I go into his yard. I mean, he'd probably be all right, but I wouldn't be worried about him if he was in my yard. I could take Gizmo. It would be good to have a weapon, though.
You should title this episode Gizmo because it's
Gizmo.
all Gizmo all the time.
It's the name of that cute, that adorable gremlin. I mean, it has to be named after that, right?
Yeah.
It's actually would be a cool name for a special, Gizmo.
No,
it'd be a terrible name.
The name that I wish we would have named our daughter is Studio.
Studio?
Studio.
Isn't there some Phil Collins song? What's the word he says?
Studio.
It's that word.
That's
okay.
it. It's a name that he just made up on the spot.
Subio.
No, it's Studio.
With a D? Is that Sudio?
I don't know how you spell it.
How does Phil spell that? Yeah, so he made up a name so he could sing about it being a woman's name, like a made up.
Yeah.
It's a lady, right? That he's presumably.
Yeah. It's like, don't say the word. He sings about it being a word too. Studio.
Phil's yeah. It was a long. Even the 2000s, I think like the 2000s were still a little bit like the 90s, where it was like you're still trying to be cool, like the suffering, like cool, mean thing. And Phil, like, does not thrive when the culture is in that place. But Phil is sort of like cheesy is okay now. Mm-hmm. It took a while. Like for most of our formative years, Phil was not cool.
No, he wasn't. Because it was like, self-hatred was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool to hate yourself when I was in high school. It was like,
What the
I
hell?
hate myself.
Yeah.
I'm so cool.
Like Eddie Vedder and Kurt Cobain were like, this sucks being so famous and everybody knows the words to all my songs and we sell out these giant sucks.
Wait, did
I
Eddie
hate
do
myself.
that? Did Eddie do that? I thought he was always just like,
I think like
he was like,
he got.
remember I could do the Eddie face?
Let's do the Eddie face.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. You gotta do it at the camera though. This is the Eddie
I
face.
think I did it. I did. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like-
kind of the physical comedy. You know, it's interesting because it's been about exactly a year, maybe 53 weeks since the whole podcast started as a Xena and Hercules podcast. I probably wouldn't even be doing the podcast. I don't know how I would have figured out how to do it if we didn't do it as a making fun of podcast. Hey, we got these Halloween costumes, and a lot of it was the faces. You know,
the faces.
your I feel like your funny faces were kind of some of the punchlines. Kind of doing that like Jim Carrey, Amber Autry thing, you know?
I was?
Yeah.
Wow.
The funny faces. I should get more funny faces.
I can't control my face, you know. It gets me into trouble sometimes.
People don't like your face sometimes. Is that what you're saying? What is it? It's the face. Just don't. It's something about her face. Like, oh, well, that's
And
not
I'm just like,
personal.
I'll be like, you know, I don't know. My like thinking face looks very mean, I think, sometimes.
You're resting.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like doing this, but all I'm doing is like thinking, but someone's like, she's, you know,
Yeah.
she hates me.
You say a thing and you're thinking about it, but the person thinks, yeah, this person is not safe here.
Yeah.
For me. I don't know what that means, you know?
I think the range is like, you know, I've always had a cute face, like when I was little and everything.
So adorable.
So if it turns into like
anger
or anything,
yeah.
like people are shocked.
It's like
and dismayed.
It's like how like the little doll like is like the scariest thing in the movie, or a clown, or it's like when the thing that's like, hey, I'll never hurt you. You can just cuddle me, and then you pick up the little cuddly squishmallow and you look down and it's like huggy wuggy. You're like, ah!
I'm like,
yeah, because you drop your guard, you know. The Eddie gums. Yeah, I want to see Pearl Jam. I don't know if I'll be able to talk you into it at some point, you know? Go see them.
well, you wanted to like fly to Boston and see him.
I wanted to see him at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Oh.
We didn't quite have it wasn't the right year for it, but it was kind of more affordable there, the tickets. They also did Madison Square, but that was real expensive.
You were talking about Chicago? Because I loved going there, but...
Yeah. Well, I think I couldn't get you past saying yes to see Pearl Jam. So I didn't maybe even say where. I was like, first
I thought it was Boston.
You know, we laugh about the Eddie face all the time. Like, first I'll bring up Pearl Jam, and we'll definitely agree we should both go. And then it just kind of stopped there. If Gavin's listening right now, he's like, hell yeah.
Because he doesn't like Pearl Jam.
I don't think he's down with the
that's
PJs.
why like I sent him the Eddie Vader meme. It's like...
First we'll get him laughing about... just think, here's Eddie's face, and we're laughing. You know, you gotta like you could trick people into liking Pearl Jam.
I don't know. I was pretty loyal to Pearl Jam long after others had moved on.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, what are we doing?
It's definitely
We're
like
going back that far.
they were always sort of dad rock. That like it was always kind of like white dudes kind of playing the hot blues licks a little bit. You know, like Nirvana was more of like a punky. I think they were more like punky and cool. Whereas Pearl Jam was always a little like Eddie was always a little more like able to embarrass, like hoo hoo hoo. In the songs would he just like he'd be like,
Then he'd be like, have it at you know, like he'd kind of do that too, right?
a goblin.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, hoo, hoo. Or what is it? Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of Jim Morrison, a lot of like here. I don't know who started that.
There's a range. He has a big range.
He does.
Because he almost has like that thing going on where he's got a real sweet face, but then he's like,
Yeah.
you know, just
Yeah.
like the eyes get real big. And
Yeah. Yeah, whenever I see him in interviews, though, and I don't think he does a lot of that. He's like so sweet and humble. Like he always says really nice stuff. Like when Nirvana was like, Pearl Jam sucks, and they were like, what do you think about Nirvana? He was like, they're a great band, you know. It hurts my feelings that Kurt hates me, and he says my band sucks, but I still love his music. And I hope he doesn't die. He's like, I think he said once that like if Kurt was still alive, he would say that he turned out right. He was like, I know I would have won him over eventually. I did want him to like me, and he didn't. Now, I think Kurt said he was a nice guy, but his music sucked. Kurt was like, he's a nice guy. He had love for him as a person too, but he was like, it's testosterone jock music, and I hate it. And maybe that's why you don't want to come see him, is because you sort of agree.
I don't know. I just think like, let's move on. That's me from like, how long ago? Like 30 years ago?
Yeah.
That's me from 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, what place do you have? Maybe you're not as nostalgia as me. Like, I mean, I like the 90s. I am kind of going like, what does it all mean with the 90s right now? Like, I'm enjoying, listening to the story of Alice in Chains for 5 hours via Yasi. You're not really fucking around with like...
No, but I do notice when I like play covers, it's Huey Lewis or Sade. It's like I go back to the 80s. I think when I want to play a cover, it's always, and I don't mean that. It's just it's like from age 0 to 10 is where I go back to when I want to do covers for some reason.
Yeah, you're more of an 80s girl, and I'm a 90s boy.
Even though I'm
an older man.
I was very into Pearl Jam. I was definitely very into Pearl Jam, though, in high school.
Yeah. Oh, you couldn't deny Alive, like the first record when it came out.
And I would even get, people would kind of make fun of me for that because I hung out with punk rock kids.
Yeah.
And they were not into it.
Yeah.
But it was like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I got to stand up for Pearl Jam.
For Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... Yeah, because like Pearl Jam was like on the way to Springsteen or something. They were more earnest, and I think that's what I do like about it. Is now I am kind of more into, like we were saying about Phil Collins. I can appreciate Phil Collins now, and in the '90s I did not. It sounded horrible to me. So
I think I get more excited about like '90s like R&B.
Yeah,
and like rap and stuff. Like,
yeah,
when I hear that, I'm like, oh yeah,
Return of the
Mac. Here we go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird because I really didn't appreciate 90s R&B enough at the time, and now I totally agree that it's like there's that real fun side. I mean, there'd be a few like Crisscross, like some of them, like even though I was in the guitar world, like I just loved some of those songs, like MC Hammer. TLC.
Crisscross, you're a big fan of Crisscross.
Oh yeah, I mean I still get excited. Jump is so fun.
Yeah.
And of course all the Dr. Dre stuff. I mean, like Snoop and Dre, that is so smooth.
Biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate Biggie till later.
Yeah. I think like some of those dance songs like really helped me like with my like anxiety or like my like, I don't know, just being able to dance was like so helpful.
What did we say a while ago? It's like self-hatred is like anxiety. It's like exhausting to kind of hate yourself as much as you're required to in the 90s.
No, you're adding.
It's changing into some
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably in there.
It's like a jam. Like you play a guitar riff, and then I start playing along on drums, and we kind of morph it. And now I'm taking the idea, and I'm kind of like throwing it back, and you're like, "Wait, it's not quite the same."
Yeah, you're like, "You said this." I'm like,
"Just go with it. See where."
Yeah, like remember the song I'm. What is that song? You Gotta Be. Remember, I like made you learn
Gotta
that.
Be
for
wiser.
Like,
that one. Oh yeah, for the birth of our first child.
Yeah.
You were like, I remember playing it though, and I was feeling it.
You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played that song over and over on my way to college. I think it was actually a Walkman with the cassette.
Who was that?
And what is it? Destiny's Child?
That's right.
Is it Destiny's Child?
That's right.
Yeah. And I was like, that song, I would try to use that song to help myself when I was like so anxious, like on the way to college. I was just like, I was like in the car,
first day at college.
Yeah,
like the
first day ever.
Leaving home for the first
leaving
time.
home for the first
you
time.
You gotta be. What is all the lines? I remember wiser. Bold, brave.
You gotta be bad. You gotta be wiser. No, that's the second part. You gotta be
bold.
Smooth,
you gotta be
you gotta
brave.
Be tough. You gotta be stronger.
Yeah.
You gotta be cool. You gotta be calm. You gotta stay together.
Yeah, that is good.
All I know is love will save the day.
It's kind of like, it just sounds better when it's from a black lady sometimes, like if Eddie sang it, I mean, it would still be good.
Let's request Pearl Jam. If they play that, I'll go see them.
Wonder how low he would go for it. But he'd go real low.
I mean, he did a cover of Let It Go, remember? He was singing Let It Go.
I think I've avoided hearing that because I was shamed so mercilessly for posting the Weezer does the Frozen song.
Oh gosh, you were shamed for that?
Yeah, it was like hating on Monty Python. That was like probably
that song is just
the most of a troll I've ever felt. And I was a troll by saying maybe it was okay that Weezer played the Frozen song.
No, you like the song, and that it's like
I like feeling things with my girls, and it has made my taste worse in some ways. It's the cheese. There's the theme here where it's like leaning into the
that song is so just meticulously written and taken things from other things.
Boston.
And it changes key in a weird place, and it's just
it hurts
my brain so hard. I that song.
So how do you feel about Boston? Is that too like? Do you feel the same way? You kind of hate Boston?
No,
you like Boston.
No, that's from them. Like they're taking from things and like putting them together and like this, like cramming different things together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even trying to say it's good. How do we get here? What was the thing before this? There was something. Do you remember?
It's probably about Gizmo.
Yeah.
I hope Dave never watches your podcast.
Well, we can't say enough lovely things about Dave. If he's watching, then as two good people that had horrible dogs, as we both did.
We did, yeah.
That said nothing about the D-man because, we love him. And, sometimes you make a really bad choice when you get a dog and the dog just keeps living and living and living. And then some pet that you like has to have some $5,000 surgery and you got to keep him alive. Meanwhile, Gizmo's just living and living.
Who knows? Maybe Gizmo's had a $5,000 surgery. Who knows?
I don't think anyone's paid $5,000 to keep the doctor's like, well, it's a minor thing. It'll be $20. Nope, sorry. Don't have it.
But he's going to die if you don't pay $20.
I wish I could. Yeah, do I need to pay for a box or anything? The cardboard.
The box will be $20. Okay.
I just found it. I just found it.
This is evil. Does this happen out here?
I will pay $1,000 for a box. It's gonna have a nice box. Are people this terrible on here? This is probably the worst it's ever been.
Is this the worst it's ever been?
I don't think so. I think when we prank called Clay, that was pretty rude.
Oh no.
I'm trying to think when have people been showed their worst sides on here. I mean, to me this is like fun. So this isn't truly us being like, bad, but it's dark I think maybe it's like,
Yeah.
who has the darkest guest been? I mean, I don't know. Julia's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Going through the recent Rolodex of.
I mean, because I've listened to them all, of course.
Yeah. Just like you. Listen to this one. I don't need anyone to lie and say they listen to this podcast. Mm-hmm. I even discourage it sometimes.
Of listening to it?
Yeah, it's like, don't make me take them down, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is that people always listen back and go, it's fine. Like every time, you know? Until now. Did you want to talk at all about creativity or anything like that? We play in a band called the Goldz. Where, how would you describe the band?
I have no idea. I mean, I feel like we could be anything that we want to be now. I mean, we could completely change into a totally different form of art.
Synth pop, drum machines.
I mean, I think we could
R&B?
become sculptors. I think we could, start to become basket weavers together. The Goldz could be the best baskets.
I really like playing the drums with your songs, though.
Yeah.
I guess I could play the drums to baskets.
I've been a little off on songs and music lately. Like, songs have been like knocking at the door like, hey, I'm out here. And I'm like, go away.
But it's cold. And we're just trying to get you to express your soul.
You're going to like it. And I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, la 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 la. They really are. They're really knocking, and I'm really.
Well, just do a voice memo of where you just do the minimum amount of effort, you know?
That's not the point. The point is that I'm rebelling against them and being like, what have y'all done for me? Every time I give everything to you, what happens to me? Nothing. Nothing.
We practice them. We could take them to a brewery and nobody cares. I'm tired of this cycle of disappointment. You guys.
Yeah, you guys act. You give me all these feels where like, oh, I'm one with the universe.
You just got to think of a way to like shorten the feedback loop between just like doing whatever it is and like what you're trying to get. You know, no expectations.
Yeah,
it's no expectations for the song to do anything for you.
Exactly, and that's the problem. I mean, that's been the problem for the whole time. I mean, it's always been the problem. Like, do you remember that like crazy guy that I told you about that me and a friend met in a bar, and he was like a weird psychic guy that was telling us exactly what was wrong with us without ever having talked to this man before. He's like, hey, he's got this like.
Not yet.
Yes, I've told you this before. It's like, he looked at my friend. And he was like, and he was like, you're too afraid to like do your art, and you're worried about
like you went around the circle and nailed everybody's thing.
It was just her and I, and he was talking to her, and he was saying everything that I had ever thought about like her and her creativity and how what she could be doing. And
what was the stuff? Let's hear the things. What was when your fortune was told?
I don't know. So then he did all that, and I was like, whoa. And then he pointed at me and he's like, and you know, and I'm like, like this, like, and then he told
awaiting your fate.
And then he told me this exact stuff where it's like, you're doing it, you're doing your art, and you're doing everything that you need to, except that you believe that, or you have these like ideas about what it should be doing for you, or where it should go, where, what should happen with it, how,
yeah.
And that's the only problem with what's going on. You're doing everything that you're doing it right, but you're not accepting. You have expectations.
Yeah, it's like giving a gift or doing a gesture for somebody. You're supposed to not expect them to even appreciate it, and that's very hard. It's very hard to live that way.
It's kind of like not a gift, because it's like you're, spending a lot of time and energy, and in our life, that's a lot. I mean, nobody, hardly anyone around us that is in our phase of life is doing anything like this. You know, is making music and whatever, making music videos or whatever, you know, just because it takes up so much of your soul. And I mean, you know, and I just have a hard time. Like I can refinish a dresser or something. And then I'm like, ooh, I get to see it every day. I get to use it. You know, it gives back to me, you know, when I do like the woodworking stuff or I build something or, you know, make something to put on the wall or whatever. Like sometimes the practicality of it feels
something functional and everyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear that. And I think, you know, you tend to kind of come in and out of it anyway. You know, I feel like when you do music, it's always of a high quality, but you just kind of don't do it like I just do it year round. Maybe I'm just a weird person where like it gives me energy to do it. You know, it's not exhausting for me to sneak in podcasts and jam. Every now and then I do hit a time where I'm like, all right, I've done a few too many shows or podcasts, and then I'll set it down, and then I'll start to get kind of like, I almost get tired if I don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, you just have this drive.
I'm a psycho or in that way.
This drive to do it all, you know, I mean, it's amazing. And it's nice, you know, that makes it nice to be in a band with you. I mean, that's kind of why I started writing songs, because you were like, I need someone to play with. And you're like, feed me songs or whatever. And I was like,
feed me songs. I'm like waiting for the whale to fall down. Like,
the whale.
You know, like one of those sea rats.
I'm like, okay, you know.
Send some of that blubber down here.
I was like trying to play my music therapy songs, and you know.
It started like you're sitting cross-legged on the bed with an acoustic guitar, kind of doing the music therapy songs, and then it was like started making up stuff, and then it went to an electric guitar, but it was my electric guitar, and then you were like, I want to get my own electric guitar at the whammy bar, and then we got that.
Yeah, and that
evolved.
That was great, but then, yeah.
We need to get Josie over here and jam with her. That's what I think. Bass, drums, like the classic formula, you know, bass, drums, and just try it.
Yeah.
You know, just try to play a few, like the songs. The nice thing about your songs is they're real good, but they're real simple too, which I think is like, that's why I keep coming back to Nirvana, is because the songs are so simple and so good that you can just tell it's good. Like Pearl Jam's a little more like, you know, weird time signatures, and everybody's like playing a million notes. Whoo, doing that face.
What song is that from? I have to know.
I think it's the end of like one of the big first Even Flow or Alive. I think it might be Even Flow. I think it's how yeah, how, you know?
You're doing the face. It's like you have to do the face in order to make the sound.
Actually, maybe it's Black, one that's like
is it kind of like on the offbeat? It's like
Jeremy. Yeah.
It's like on the offbeat.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah. And then there's like there's that one.
Yeah. People are gonna love this episode.
Oh man. Should we get into the Dave Matthews impressions?
I know someday I'll have a beautiful life.
I know you'll be a son.
All right.
In somebody else's skies, but why can it be? Or can it be mine? And he gets right up there.
Yeah.
Like Kurt was like, this is embarrassing. But there was a whole bunch of people being like, it's good.
Yeah, because he's like, and then he's like,
yeah, like choir boy, like demon to choir boy. In 200 milliseconds, we got demon to choir boy. I mean, come on. I think they were like real good at basketball and like kind of jocks. He's a surfer, so he's got the powers of the. He's
athletic.
He's
He's real short though.
Yeah, So it is weird because I remember I was thinking about that because I remember in the 90s they had a celebrity basketball on MTV. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I should look this up. If this is a dream, I'm losing my mind. But I think that Pearl Jam like played basketball, and they were good. But then I just found out recently that Eddie's a short man, like you. You know, that's why you do the impression so well. So you little guys.
Am I man? I think I identify as female at this point.
You still doing that? Still doing assigned at birth? That's not very progressive. This is me. I guess when we started dating and I was wearing those gloves and sunglasses, I was kind of a little more towards the... It's hard to do with no hair. I think it's harder to be androgynous, you know? Like I would totally have Keith Richards. I would do the Axl Rose hair if I had it, probably. I have to be a whole different guy just because I don't have hair.
Axl Rose hair? You would have long hair like Axl Rose?
I regret that I never took it there when I had the chance. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm trying to wait long enough to do Rick Rubin. Like maybe in another... Once it's all white, I'm going to try to go wizard. Like when I'm 60.
Yeah.
You think I could pull it off?
Yeah.
You kind of want like a silver wizard.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted the wizard.
It's going to be the thing that like reignites our sex life in our 60s. Is I'm like a wizard. And you're going to be like, all right, another decade of banging, you know?
I almost said I'd like play Frodo, but that doesn't seem right at all.
No. I would be like, I'm not trying to...
Maybe I could play Gollum.
What about the...
I can't play Galadriel. She's tall. She's a tall elf. I'm an elf, but...
All right, let's try Gollum. See how good... I really hope I don't like this. It's like, we both like it a lot. It's like, oh, no. This is like... I wish this wasn't the best it's ever been. Gollum and what's the wizard's name?
Gandalf. Man, I'm
getting a little rusty on your nerd elves.
Any words I have a very hard time finding these days.
Yeah.
There's certain words that are the hardest words to remember, like lunchbox. I can't say lunchbox quickly. I have to say it very slowly.
All right, I need you to get in the car. I need you to put on your shoes. I need you to grab your...
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Lunchbox.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like, oh.
And that's the reason that they were late.
Yeah, like, oh. It's weird.
And the kids like aren't helping. They're just like,
yeah.
I don't know which one.
No, I'll look at Eleanor. I'll be like, can you get your? And she'll be like, lunchbox.
I wonder why lunchbox. You know?
I've had trouble with mailbox too. I really have.
It's a box thing.
Yeah.
Sandbox.
I haven't had trouble with sandbox yet, but I don't hardly use sandbox.
Well, we named one of our two cars dog box. I'm not trying to flex on this podcast. We have two cars. We got two cars, okay?
They both have lichen growing on them, so.
Yeah. So we're doing pretty good.
But yeah, I can say dog box.
Yeah, dog box.
Yeah, that's true.
Lunchbox. Maybe if you visualize dog box, you can be like dog box, lunchbox. You can shorten the time. You need a proxy to get to.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names of like my favorite celebrities or bands sometimes.
I've never been able to. But I know Christopher Walken and the grunge people that I just keep repeating on this podcast because it's like the four. I just keep it to the four names I know.
Yeah, but like, you know, I think it's different. Like I can never remember, you know, Jeff Goldblum is just like a name I can't remember.
It did take a minute just then.
Yes, it did.
Like, who are other people I could never remember? It's like, no, please.
Well, you could have filled in. I was kind of expecting you to just fill it in.
Just know. Like, we did some telepathy about Goldblum just the other night.
Yeah.
I
said, who's the guy that I like and I can't remember? And you're like, Jeff Goldblum.
And you'd already told me
out of nowhere.
You told me that the movie you were trying to think of, or you told me the movie. I don't know what information we did have. Vibes, Cyndi Lauper. And then you were like, it also has, I was like, Lunchbox, no. It's not that. And
Mailbox, no, it's not.
All right, picture dog box. And then you get to Lunchbox, and then you open the Lunchbox, and Jeff Goldblum pops out like, here's the box of raisins. Yeah, little mnemonic tricks and stuff. I don't know. Is that mnemonic? Is it mnemonic mean memory or talking? Mnemonic device. What is that? Like, is that picture in somebody's... Picture in my face.
I can't remember.
Picture in my face on a field of rye. So you're like, oh, it's Ryan. Is that a mnemonic device?
It might be.
It gets
because like, what is like every good boy does fine? Like, what is that called?
That's yeah, that's for one thing. It's an
acronym.
Acronym, right? But then it also is like maybe a mnemonic device. It's getting too boring. We got to go back to man. Like when Gizmos
doesn't stop.
Like I would, okay. Dog death. I went too far. I was like, all right, this is getting a little too educational, and then I went like overcorrected.
Mm-hmm.
Went to dog death, Gizmo death. It's nice to have just some silences on here sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the thing about getting 3 people on is there's never any silence. I think some people even edit them out, but I kind of like when I listen back, I'm like, why wouldn't you just leave the pause there? It's like the Chappelle Miles Davis thing, I don't know. This is I'm trying to repeat myself less.
Is this how, do you talk to people this way usually on here? Or do you think it's different because,
I hope that I talk to everybody a little different, honestly. But, we are on a different, we're much closer than anyone else that comes on.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to talk to my parents for that reason, too. And you're just like, you talk differently to different people. Or I try to be that way, not to be like just yelling the same crap at people.
Yelling some crap.
Silencers are good, and I sure do think about the 90s a lot. Everyone's like, we know, please. It's kind of an outlet for, I guess, like, I don't know how I scan to people out there, but like, for you, it's like I talk quite a lot, and it gets to be too much. Would you agree?
Yes. Yes. Sometimes I just walk into the bathroom and you don't seem to mind, and you're still talking when I come out.
Habada. Do we agree that that's the thing we can say?
I don't know. I don't know where that even came from. I really don't. But I was wondering, do you... so you want to play the Goldz songs. You still want to do that. And do you want to do it out? Do you want to record? What?
Great question. Great question.
Because I don't know. I like the idea of busking, but then it kind of felt like we can't do it with drums. Drums are just not a buskable.
Buskable. Like lunchable.
I thought of Huxtable, but we're never going to. Let's not.
Yeah, I think busking could be interesting. I think I could do it with just like a kick and snare, and like.
Yeah, but that's so loud. I would really need. We'd just,
we need we need electric. So it's like, is it acoustic or electric? There's a few things in there. You started with just being like, do you want to play the
songs? You said you wanted to play the songs.
Well, yeah, I wanted to like put a pin in that because I think that I like moving forward, so I think that the songs that we've recorded and put out, I don't know that those are I'm as interested in playing those. I certainly would if there was a show or a busking situation. But the ones that were really good songs that we'd never captured, I think it'd be interesting to just try to record those, even just like as quickly in punk rock and lo-fi as possible, just to document them. I think that could be fun, but then not obsessing over just kind of record them and put out, kind of like we did with the 1 Inch Punch, where we just played, and you gave me the greatest compliment anyone can ever give. It's like, I didn't even realize we were recording, and that's what I try to make this like. So you're just focused on like vibing, being yourself. To do something like that to capture them, or maybe bring Josie Beers over, somebody like that, and just jam on them and just see, like, there's still these, maybe not even all of them, but there's like Electric Noise Pattern, and then the Don't Hear Much. There's some that is like, it's just nice to capture things. So capture them without getting stuck in that obsessive loop that makes you end up hating them. That's what interests me.
Yeah, and I think that's hard for me. 1 Inch Punch was nice because you were just like doing the whole thing, and my voice wasn't on there.
Yeah.
And that is always tough for me to...
Yeah, the voice always makes it harder. That you got this thing. They got the person singing words that the whole mix has to complement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not just an instrument, it's coming out of your body. So it's every time, I think every time you record, there's this like tendency to hate or love what you're doing, and a mixture of both, hating it and loving it at the same time. And I feel like when it's your voice, it's even more pronounced, that like difficulty of
self-consciousness.
Yeah,
for sure. When it's your voice, like one way I kind of solved that with the albums that I do of my stuff is like the last couple. There's like 2 albums ago, I had a voice memo of me just singing the song, and I put and I just really like the way I sound. I'm just sitting at the kitchen table, people are walking around, and I just feel it, and I'm like, well, that's a great vocal take. I could never do that again if I was holding this microphone like this and doing it 3 times and trying to edit them. Yeah. So I started with that, and then I would play drums to that, and then I found I could crank them out like literally in like 10 minutes a song, or I don't know. It depends on how many things you want to add, but you start adding like bass, a synth, and drums, but then I would even stack them all together. Like I'd put all the ones I liked, I'd be like, oh, here's the 12 songs. I just played them. It just took 30 minutes. I like the way they sound, and then I'd just play drums along with all of them, and then I'd play bass along with all of them. And then at some point they start to break off into their own, like this one has a synth, but not this one. I wonder if there's some process where we could do that, where you just get the voice good first, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've also had issues like with my voice, so that's kind of part of it too.
Yeah.
So.
But you still, I mean, you've had the issues with your voice, but we went and did a 2-hour show, so you'd never have to do anything like that. You basically like, hey, let's do like 3 of them. And I wonder if there's some way if we like played them and sung them in the shed, and we put a cable out of the PA into something so you have a direct vocal. You could add reverb to it later, and you kind of just, try to capture it.
I feel like we've always done roomy stuff before, not just direct.
But you could still reamp it, get the room. You could have that direct one, and you could still play it into our room and capture it. I know, like, there's this guy named Steve Albini that just died. Albini. I wanted to say albino. But he was very much like that, where first you'd figure out how to make the process just as quick and raw. So it's like, if you work with me, we're not going to do Sgt. Pepper's where we bring in a horn section. It's going to be like what you sound like. He was like, I am not a producer. I'm an engineer. I just capture what is. So maybe we could try to like capture what is,
Yeah.
I can't tell if I get excited about this, but I can't tell if I get too long-winded. Like, I feel like I'm drifting into that, and I'm like, bleep,
I don't know.
Bleep, bleep.
I don't know. It is like very like, it's kind of technical details of how to do that.
Yeah.
But I've always liked to sing out into a room, and that's how my voice sounds. And then so when it's coming through a microphone, it's just kind of weird anyway.
So what if you like did a song like the way you did that reel of Dear Life, What if you did that where you put just like your phone up by your face or something and you played electric guitar and you just captured that, and then I could play drums along with it, But different songs
with the singing?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it would be so that you start the song as with one track, and the track would be a voice with a rhythm guitar behind it, but the voice is nice and closer, so it's not going to be an issue that guitar is too loud. And then you add drums to it, and then you can add that second guitar if you want, and some bass, and you just like. And
then you can't control the voice at all. It's just stuck with that guitar.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But it gives
Sounds
you that
like I would
freedom.
go insane.
You're like, because you're like, this decision has been made.
Yeah.
But it's like, you just do one like that, and then you might be like, well, that was the most awful thing I've ever heard in my life. But, that's also fine. You didn't, you got new information. You went to a new place, and you didn't get stuck in that cycle of just like analytical, like your house becomes a wreck.
I mean, just any, like we've been talking about how like it's so hard to see yourself recorded or hear yourself or see yourself in the reality of what it is.
Yeah.
For any artist, I think,
Yeah. The mirror is the hardest thing to face as an artiste. No, I love it. I mean, that's what I love about comedy is I feel like it's the most naked of that, it's the most like it's the harshest mirror yet, where you're just like you're like, that was a good set, and then you watch it and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's how the voice is too.
Yeah,
because it's just you.
I wonder if there's some way to we've always done the voice though later.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's some way to
get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
traditionally, I mean, that's how it is. It's everything's recorded and the vocalist sings on top of it. You've got your bass, and then you're just.
But there are exceptions to that. Like Langhorne Slim's album, that one that I really just loved the way it sounded. There we are.
Where he's really yelling like into the.
And he sounds like Bob Dylan, who also did that. Langhorne was like, man, every time I ever wanted to record an album, I'd say like, just let me record it while I'm singing it, because that's when the best take. And they never let me. And then this time I actually did get that, and it sounds great. And there's off key notes, and it's like all that is in there. And that's like all those Dylan songs, Maybe they do lend themselves more to some sort of like rambliness or something. I don't know. But I always felt that way, like when we'd play at Bobo acoustic and there's like brush drums, and I had to really, like, the room was a reasonable size, but I had to project up, like I'm toning myself off the walls at those, like this.
That was magical. I remember that. That was.
Yeah, that was really the peak of it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we've come a long way, my friend. 15 years. I was just thinking you were saying that you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. That was like 13 years ago right now, because our first kid was born like, I think in on Friday is going to be the 13th year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting it was this time of year getting in that space. With the second kid, you're like, well, I've had a kid before, so but the first one, you're just like, what's gonna happen, dude?
Yeah.
And here we are, more in love than ever, vibing in the shed, getting to listen to me talk like you love so much.
And we've got it all recorded.
Yeah, it'll be a treasure, right? I mean, this is like you were worried you wouldn't have anything to talk about. We've been talking for an hour and 11 minutes. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. It's no problem. We just started ragging on Gizmo and slid right into it. I guess it's like 2:00. For our listeners, our children are not here, and I'm just I never am on my phone, but my parents are gonna show up here soon with our kids, and we're gonna be these people you see that are just so relaxed and enjoying things. We're gonna have to be like, put that down. Why do you? Yeah. We stopped at McDonald's.
Are
Jeez.
you reading this text?
ETA 2:34 p.m.
2:34.
My mom writes really long text, so it's about to be like, yeah, I'm gonna have to really get back to some dog. Yes, we got 30 minutes. I don't know. You want to call it? You want to keep talking? What you want to do, baby?
I don't know.
Everybody out there listening is like, please keep talking. Please. I don't want to be alone with my thoughts.
I need more of this.
Yeah. So it's weird because the dog that's Bongo.
That's
It's
Bongo.
very sweet. Bongo is the one that's like on alert, It's like arf arf, and if it's just Bongo, you go up and he like gives you a kiss, and he's sweet. Bongo. I don't want to misgender Bongo.
I think.
But then Gizmo like kind of uses him as a sentry. Gizmo like sprints in, goes through that spot where the bears are pushing the fence down at night, so Gizmo can leap up and try to eat your face. I don't know. Maybe we should call it here. It feels like a good 30 minutes in the house.
Yeah.
Feels like a natural repose.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice having you on. You can come on anytime you want. I've been asking you to be on for a while, and then you're like, the other day, you're like, yeah, maybe I'll come on.
Yeah, and then I was like, I've made a horrible mistake. Why did I say that?
Yeah.
But this has been pretty fun.
Thank you. All right. Well, I love you.
I love you too.
Bye-bye.